Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The German Ministry of Defense reports Mr. Pistorius, which I think is just a tool, reports that Germany will send Leopard 1, dozens of Leopard 1 tanks to Ukraine pretty soon. They're on their way. Now, from my perspective, not only mine, Leopard 1 tanks are obsolete, are done, are old, are junk. And I understand that sometimes you need, to send to the front anything you got to fight the invader. But I disagree that you would make some swords and provide the swords to the Ukrainian military to go and fight the Russians. That's how I see this. And if you don't see it this way, let me put it personal. Let's say you have a son or a daughter and they are fighting, let's say in Ukraine, and the Germans will send you a tank where your son and your daughter will be the crew of this tank that was built in 1960s. Now we are in 2023. So it's about 60 some years ago that tank was built. That means it's done. Well, it's true that there are some upgrades, updates on the tank, but still, Germany, the guys that sent the Leopard 1 tanks to the Ukrainians to help the Ukrainians face the Russians. Remember, Russia is not a Category 5 army. If you consider it that way, I think you just, then give me $20,000 right now, and I will give it to you back tomorrow with a 3,000 interest. So tomorrow I'll meet you, promise, and give you the money back with interest. If you believe that Russia is just a Category 5 military. I think it's a Category 1 military. All right, I know it's the best, but hey, I think somewhere down below is Russia. But you can't really send your child, your son, your daughter in a Leopard 1 tank fight the Russians in 2023 with a tank that was built in 60 something, with its updates, upgrades, whatever. I would not. I think that's a crime. I think you knowingly, and besides, you send something that you would not use. For the reason that they are not good anymore. You have Leopard 2 better than that ones. What do you mean? I don't use it, but I give it to you? It's about life and death here. So let me show you two articles. One from the Russians, the other one from the Ukrainians, I think. So let's start with the Russians. Sputnik. Ukraine to receive dozens of Leopard tanks in coming weeks. Germany. Over the past weeks, the much hyped Ukrainian counteroffensive resulted tralala. Okay. In the coming weeks, I'm quoting, dozens of Leopard 1 A5 battle tanks will be delivered to Ukraine, provided by Germany and Denmark. End quote. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius, which I think is just on someone else's payroll, not Germany's payroll, said on Monday in an interview with Polish press. Pistorius mentioned a military aid package to Kiev prepared in May. So they will give them 2.7 billion euros, with 3 billion. It's wrong here. Which is $3 billion. Aid package that includes only other urgently needed weapons, as well as additional IRIS-T, SLM air defense systems. So that's one. And then we're going to the Kiev Independent again. Pistorius, dozens of Leopard 1 tanks will arrive in Ukraine in the coming weeks. Very good, very good. And it says here that earlier this year, the Danish government signed a cooperation agreement with Germany and the Netherlands to transfer at least 100 Leopard 1 tanks to Ukraine. These tanks were originally scheduled to arrive in the spring, but were ultimately delayed until the summertime. So let's see. Let's go to the Leopard 1. Leopard 1. You see what's here? In the German army, the Leopard 1 was completely phased out in 2003. So 20 years ago, phased out, that means we're not going to use this garbage. Here you have him. Here is the tank, and let's see. Let's go over here. So it was used in Bosnian War, in service 1965. How many of you were born in 1965? And if you were born, just calculate how old they are. Bosnian War, oh my God, Kurdish-Turkish conflict, war in Afghanistan, all this were used in not category 1 armies. Production. Designed in 56 until 61. So that's the technology that they had to design it. You might say, well, you can update it. It's true, but it's done. That's when it was built. They were built 6,000, blah, 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 blah. Produced between 65 and 84. And they add on. Imagine that you have a car, and let's say it's a good car. And it was built in 1970 or 1980. Because it was like, 1984 was the last time produced? Last. I'm going to say, let's say a car with the technology of 1984. And 1984, and you just somehow, on the chassis and all that, you put it, you adjust it, and you go to a nowadays competition or car racing competition with that car. Against new cars, 2022, 2023 cars, with the technology nowadays. I mean, you can do that, but what do you think would be the right rate of success for that endeavor? And besides, you go to this competition willingly, and you go over there and, okay, you compete. Here's about life and death. They said over there in that Wikipedia that, hey, they were updated, upgraded, and there are some countries who still use that, but it doesn't mean that if you still use them, remember, North Korea, the country of the woodchuck, they still have MiG-15 built in the 50s. They still have, I think, one or two. I think it's the last country on this planet that have active MiG-15. I think it's still operational. Really, it doesn't mean that MiG, I always like F-15. The MiG-15 is, you can update and upgrade at F. Okay, the MiG-15 as much as you want. Fantastic when it came out. But it was built in the 50s, damn it, or 40 something, 49, I can remember, something like that, in the 50s, let's put it this way, because it's easier to say, you know what, why not, let me see. So we're talking things here, clearly. Search Wikipedia. What it was, what, MiG-15. There we go. A beautiful aircraft when it was designed, very performant, but here it is, the MiG. First flight 1947, introduced 1949, so 1950. Status in limited service with the Korean People's Army Air Force. Got that? It doesn't mean that if these guys are still using it is good. Okay, right here, first flight. And let's go back here. So to be honest, all right, and we go back here and it says the Leopard 2 has replaced Leopard 1 in service, but it says currently the largest operators are Greece with 520 Leopard 1, Turkey 397, Brazil 378, Chile with 202, but it doesn't mean that's good. It doesn't mean that's good for the reason I already said. This guy is still in operation here, limited service. Okay, next time get a MiG-15 fighter, I don't know, a F-16 and see how that's going to perform. It's going to be blown up from the sky. The MiG would not even know that F-16 is over there in the air somewhere. I think it's enough. I think that's a crime to do that. And look at the specifications. Look at the specifications. They get rid of garbage, but it's people who are going to die operating those weapons. And these guys know it. These guys know it. That's another thing. It's, Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.